What's up, everybody? Today we're going to do some post-track maintenance on the Honda CRF450. So typically you don't need to do everything I'm going to do in the video, but today we need to change the oil. We're going to check the spokes, make sure they're not loose. We're going to address the air filter, and another little tip that I have that I'll hold secret to my heart till later in the video. So let's get to first things first, changing the oil. Now the first thing we need to do is get this skid plate off. There's 2 bolts on the front here. We'll take that off, and there should be a big Allen up under here that we can screw out and drain the oil. Ooh, a little radiator, a little antifreeze in there, or water or something. Oh, I got the stand on it. Hang on here. There we go. Perfect. Lock my stand in place so that I can't knock it off. But there's our big Allen we got to take off. And I do see a problem that we're going to need to address here. That is pinched off and not allowing the radiator fluid to fall out as needed. Shouldn't be pinched like that. But we gotta cut that and fix that. Okay, so we've addressed this with a ratchet here. It's on pretty tight, so let's see if we can't get this thing off. Oh my god, is it on there tight? Oh! Wow. Wow, that was on there really tight. Okay, we're gonna be able to, and look just like that. Drain our oil out. Oh. Nice. Camera's all full of oil. I think that the old owner was using Motul, which is why this is green color. The bike that Motul is old, Motul is green color from what I understand. So I think that that's why it's green. I've never seen green oil before in my life like that. But now that we got this plug and the oil is drained out, we're just going to go ahead and reinstall this back up in there and get it all snugged up in there, and then we'll go ahead and change the oil filter and then fill the bike up with oil. All right. That's all the tight as I want to go. Perfect. Well, now we'll take a little contact cleaner and clean up the excess oil that's hanging off over there. Oil filter side here. So you're going to take your 8mm, same that you did to take the skid plate off. Take your 8mm and pull this off right here. This is going to be your oil filter. So you can hold this and do it one-handed. Now, we don't want to lose that spring. That is for sure. So I'm going to set this down right now. Pull that spring out. Over here. And filters out like that. Now we can go ahead, take our new filter, stick it on there, stick that spring in. And right before we do anything, just clean it out with a rag. Make sure that any dirty oil is cleaned. So you basically want it to look like that when you're done, and then you can go ahead and put your filter in. Now, some guys will soak the oil filter in oil before that they put them in the machine. It doesn't really matter, if I'm being honest. Just check the oil after you got it running. You recheck it a little bit later just to make sure it's all good, but soaking it isn't going to do anything really for you if you ask me. But what do I know? I'm not really a professional mechanic, so there is that to take into consideration. All right, tighten these bolts up and go ahead and fill it up with oil. So I run my oil changes at every 10 hours or so. So I run full synthetic because of that. Now, in theory, a lot of guys like to run their, change oil super frequent, like every other ride or after every ride. They're changing oil on these bikes because of just how hard you beat on them and how high the RPMs are. If you're doing that, you don't really need to use full synthetic. You can just go get normal, standard, conventional oil, I'll say, at any power sports shop. For me, because I'm running them 10 hours and I just want to make sure I know that this bike is good, and 10 hours is like every 3-4 rides ish, depending on how long you're riding. For me, at least, it's every 3 to 4. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. I use the AMSOIL, 100% synthetic. About a quart. So let's get to pouring in. You got to use a funnel because this oil location fill hole, not very pleasant to try and dump a full bottle of, AMSOIL. Not sponsored, but if you want to send me some oil products, hit me up, brother. When I get about halfway through on the oil, I'll go ahead and show you on the sight glass here what I'm looking at, where the fill level should be, etc. Should take about a quart of oil, so I'm not too worried about really going too heavy with this here or overfilling it. So full quart is in there. Now there's a sight glass here, and you got two little marks. You got a mark here and you got a mark here. You want to fill it till it's basically in the middle towards the top of that mark. You really don't want to exceed the top of this mark. Right now it's so hard to see because this oil is really light colored, but it's basically right at the bottom with a full quart of oil. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to start the bike here for just a second. I'm going to let the oil run through the system, and then we're going to top it off the rest of the way. And that should be basically your oil change. So really quick, just listen to it. Simple as that. So now let that oil sit, fill back in there, and we'll go ahead right now in a second here and top it off. So as you can see, that oil there, it's hard to see the angle, but we're basically at the top there. So that's where you want to have it sitting. So you run the bike so that it fills that oil filter up with oil. So give you something to think about. So yeah, otherwise we are good to go. Oil change is done. All right, so let's address this little pinched line. Now I know it's gonna leak oil, or leak out fluid, so I'm gonna get it like this. I'm gonna cut it, kinda let it drain whatever out it's gonna drain. It should drip out there a little bit though, I would imagine. So we'll just make sure we do that a little bit. Oh, there it goes. Now it comes out. There we go. See? Now we'll put the skid plate back on, kind of reset that up in there a little bit better, maybe something like that so it don't get pinched under there. Likely it got pinched from somebody when they were changing the oil on it, and when they put the skid plate back on, it pinched it. So we'll make sure we're a little bit more careful when we put the skid plate on. Now one little trick you can do when you're putting on these bolts back on, especially like shroud bolts and things like that, put just a little bit of a dab of blue Loctite. Really helps these bolts from not falling out, especially because you don't want to over crank them and strip anything on these aluminum frames, and it's easy to do so. So if you put a little bit of blue Loctite and you snug everything up nice, you know for a fact then or with really good certainty that it's not going to come off. But you do not need a lot, just a little dab on it works totally fine. So I usually do that, and then that's how easy it is to just one little tip when you're putting the skid plate back on, or really any shroud. So just a very small amount. So all right, so one of the next things that I do following the track, if I don't need to change oil or anything like that, pretty simple. I go around and I check the spokes to make sure all the spokes are tight. So these spokes often do come loose. So basically just take a spoke wrench, go around each spoke, just make sure that they don't need to be tightened up. Sometimes they do come loose, and it's rather important that that they get tightened, because you really do not want this thing, I guess your tire coming untrue, and then also it makes a hell of a lot of noise if they're loose. You can hear them. Like that one's a little loose there. Now the front, very rarely do you have front having problems with with spokes coming loose, at least in my experience. Usually I don't even check them. Just these rears, because you're sliding around a lot on the rears and it puts a lot of stress on the spokes. Should be good. Theory, your tire should spin straight. But when you're all done, mine's not perfect. It's not perfectly trued, but it's true enough for me and the stuff and the people I hang out with, so can't argue with that. Okay, one thing I do recommend though, every single race is to pull off your air filter. My air filter is under here. Screw pulls this off and you can take your air filter assembly out. Change your air filter every time. That is cheap, easy maintenance to do, and what I suggest doing is getting two filters like me. Two filters. So as soon as, the reason I'm not going to show you taking that one out of it, because I've already swapped it. As soon as I get home, I take the new air filter, I put it on the cage, I wipe out the inside of that air box as best I can with contact cleaner, and I put it right back on. New air filter every time, every ride is super easy to do, and it doesn't take very long to do it. So one thing that I do with these, when I come back dirty, is I take Dawn dish soap and wash them really, really good. Squirt Dawn dish soap all over it, smush it up, wash it out, gets a lot of the dirt. It won't get all the old oil off of it necessarily. It will get quite a bit of it off, but not all of it. I don't really care about that much. You can soak them and dip them in gas, or get like real contact cleaner, real like air filter cleaner to get rid of it, but if you do them every single time, it really doesn't matter that much. So we'll go ahead right now. We're gonna get some gloves on and we're gonna spray this one, oil this one up, and I'm gonna stick it in the bag, so we can do that now. Safety first. Gotta get my gloves on, you know. What does this remind you of? Reminds me of the doctor's office and a prostate exam. All right, so take our spray on Bel-Ray filter oil. Doesn't really matter what you use, any filter oil. And take it and spray it all over your air filter. You can be heavy on it, it doesn't hurt anything. Alright, so I got it all sprayed on there, and then I'm going to take it and work it all in. Yeah, just like that, baby. Just like that, baby. Just like that. It smells so good too. Alright, so you see in the earlier, had that like orangey color, right? And now you don't really have it. You have that blue color, and that blue color is from the oil. So just do it up as best you can. You just want it super oily. And like I said, if you're doing this every single air filter every single time, it makes it just everything so much easier, so much better. You don't have to worry about lubing them up super heavy, and cleaning is so much easier. All that. So highly recommend two air filters, and boom, that's done. So then last thing that I do, I put it in plastic bag, because these are oily messes, and then you set that off to the side. So now you get into the last part of the video here, and you're probably thinking, Mitch, you've shown me all these amazing secrets, absolutely most amazing tech tips possible on how to maintain your dirt bike. You know, we went through oil change, we went through air filter, we went through spokes. What's next, man? What'd you say that little secret was? Thanks for asking. WD-40, baby. You want to go down and WD-40 pretty much everything. I go ahead and lube up the chain right away when you're done after pressure washing. And then the real secret is this. You take WD-40 and you spray it up under your fenders, you spray it up on your exhaust. Don't want to touch your brakes, but everything else is fair game except for the aluminum here and your side panels here and your seat. Obviously handlebars, those sorts of things. And what that does is it dries on the bike, gives it the shine you're looking for, but it also dries on the bike, and then it's so much easier to clean, especially after a muddy race or muddy moto. Like all the dirt will come off really easy, the pressure washer, and you really don't have to sit there and scrub the bike. Absolutely hate it. I also spray the rims, man. Just go around that whole rim, go around that tire. Obviously not on the top of the nubs, just because it can cause a hazard there, but dude, it works really, really good. So I mean, like literally, like don't even worry about it. Spray the machine down. Ain't gonna hurt nothing. So I can spray the exhaust just like that. Spray up under here. I've already done most of that, but nonetheless, that's what you do. One of the other things you can check too is your chain tightness. So on this bike, I basically use the 3-finger rule. It's at 4 right now, so I probably should tighten it. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll tighten this up. So for this job, you're gonna need you a big 32 millimeter socket, a 12 millimeter wrench, and a 10. So we will first off take off the nut here. We're just gonna loosen that up as best we can, the big nut on the axle. And believe me guys, this is very hard to do. Let me slide the bike back first. Okay. All right, so you wanna go kind of like, you can see the axle just moved there. You basically wanna snug it up so the axle won't slide without, it just want to have this a little tension on here. So then you're going to go ahead and loosen up your, I guess the bolt here that pushes the block to tighten it up. So let's go ahead and do all that. So how do you tighten this up? You tighten this up by screwing out the bolt here. Now there is little indicators on here. You want to make sure both of those indicators are at the same little spot here. I don't know what these would be called, like little grooves, I guess you could say. So you want to make sure those grooves are aligned on both sides, this side of the axle and the other side of the axle. And you adjust it by doing this. So once you adjust it and get the proper tension, like about those 3 fingers, like I said, then we'll go ahead and tighten up the axle nut. You can see 3 fingers, almost perfect. Obviously, it's a little bit tight, but I'm not too worried about it. Be totally fine. So got those 3 fingers on. That's good for me. Maybe a hair bit tight sitting on the stand here, but I'm not too worried about it. Okay, so one trick you can do, so like I said, that axle nut, you want to have tension on it, because that axle will try and slide back. If you have tension on it, it keeps it so that you can pull the tensioner bolts here, will push back on it and it gracefully, and that axle won't slide back. So once you want to get it, so you can take a wrench like this, and when you slide the axle or slide the wheel back here, it'll pull tension on the chain and pull your axle forward up into here. So I tighten the axle up and then I go to tighten these up, because I know for a fact right now the axle is tight against this, and then I go in and do the jam nuts. So that's just what I do. On these, you want to make sure on the axle nut, as tight as you can go basically by hand with one of these. It calls for like 65 foot-pounds, and with a small ratchet like this, I can't tighten it that tight just with this ratchet alone. So I just go as tight as I can by hand and you're good to go. So let's go ahead and tighten that up. Last thing you're gonna go do is you're gonna tighten up the jam nut on here on your tensioner bolt. Boom, just like that, all the maintenance is done on the bike. One other thing you can do is check over the tire pressure. I know my tire pressures are fine, I'm not worried about it. Fill it up with fuel. Basically, that's another thing. Get it ready for the next ride, baby. So keep on commenting, liking, subscribing, and maybe I'll see you at a Central Florida moto track. Who knows? Thanks for watching, everybody. Feel free to comment if you want to see any other videos or something different with the bikes I have, please let me know.